was a child in that building. Hey everybody, and welcome to another movie night. I'm Jacqui. And today we are watching Masters of the Air episode 4. Now, I recall episode 3 being quite an emotional episode. If you guys watched my reactions, I cried. Oh my god, that scene with the kid screaming for his life in the oh my god, nope, I'm not even gonna relive it. Whew, I need to squeeze a comedy in here somewhere. I need a comedy somewhere. We'll see what happens. But on that note, we're gonna get into this episode. So please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on episode 4, on Masters of the Air, and of course, Band of Brothers in the Pacific. I'm doing all of them, so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Redder is better, so hit what may or may not be a big red subscribe button depending on your browser, and check me out on Patreon for the full-length version of this reaction as well as all of my other content. Links to my Instagram and other socials are in the description box below. With all of that out of the way, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you, and let's get into Masters of the Air, episode 4.
I know that you're always in my thoughts from the moment I wake to the moment I rest my head at night.
Oh my god, is he trying to write a love letter?
You are and always will be the only girl for me. I hope.
I hope, he says. Oh my god.
The Regensburg Schweinfurt mission was by far our largest and costliest battle to date. We didn't know who was killed or who was captured.
Yeah. Oh my.
Well, better late than never, huh?
God, this
Better
shot.
have that ice cold beer for the boys.
Just the shot of them in front of the bomber. Anyone else thinking of the volleyball scene from Top Gun?
Had only one way to avoid capture. The help of foreign friends.
He chose to run.
If anyone was caught helping a downed flyer, they were either thrown into a concentration camp or executed.
Good for them, though. Good people. With a silhouetting. You sit there. I'll be right back. That is a lot of trust to put in those people.
Psst.
Oh dear.
Bailey, you're alive. Anyone else make it? You're the first familiar face I've seen.
Aww.
Which group you say you're from again?
306.
Hey, you guys sure must have kicked the hornet's nest. They came after us with a fury I ain't ever seen.
Oh my god. I mean, good for them, but...
Oh, what happened to Babyface? Everybody else?
Babyface.
Come with me.
Well, that's a shot. Huh.
What is your name? Please write down your answers.
Why? Oh, were they vetting them?
Who did Babe Ruth play for before the Dodgers?
Babe Ruth never played for the Dodgers.
Trick question.
Write today's date on the top of your paper.
Is it kind of like the scene in Inglourious Bastards 3 instead of 3?
I haven't been grilled that hard since my social studies final.
You're telling me. I thought I failed.
God, they're making this as pretty as possible. God, I'd feel like it was being brought out to be shot.
You have a light?
Yeah.
You got one for me?
No!
I feel like it was being brought out to be shot.
He didn't pass the test?
It was an infiltrator.
Yeah. Him. Huh.
No. I talked to him for an hour.
They're not taking risks. I mean, that was definitely set up with him being the only one that neither of them knew, but... Ooh, okay, that's trippy. That's trippy. Okay. That opening had... I don't know why it felt like such a different vibe to the rest of the series. Or maybe I'm just so emotionally exhausted that I'm just like, cool! Bring it on! Let's do it! God, this is definitely going to get nominated for Best Opening Credits. Like I've said, I am such a sucker for beautiful, and this is just beautiful.
25 was the magic number. If you survived 25 missions, they sent you home and built bond tours around you.
Hey, Billy, Salmon, you working with these ruffians now?
Unless you're gonna give me a job.
Let's come work with us.
Gladly. Sure.
Couple of eager beavers over here.
That's adorable.
Sun's out.
Hey, look here. It's Diaz.
Hey! Good, they need a win. They need some good news. They deserve it. Fly by.
Stole your move.
Oh.
See the boys? Watch out for the lady. No, I'm going that way. Come on, Bucky. That's too much.
Meatball!
I'm dropping by some stations to prove the 25 can actually, get done.
Yeah, by the skin of his teeth.
That's so scary to think about, though.
We're all that's left, aren't we?
Yeah. It's a very bittersweet celebration.
12 crews out of
35.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you boys, you come with a hell of a reputation. I'll tell you that.
You talking about us flying in our skivvies, sir?
What? Why?
That's what the kids are doing these days.
In Texas, those forts get so hot you could fry an egg on the instrument bench.
We hadn't heard about the underwear, but we heard you're outstanding pilots.
That's what matters. Skivvies, lawyer, it doesn't matter. Can you fly a plane?
Now that we're here, feels like we're actually gonna do something.
Well, you'll do something, all right.
Yeah, there's that. You can't tell them what it's really like. They have to learn it for themselves.
What am I thinking talking about my skivvies in front of the fire?
Price for me, gents.
Replacements.
Lieutenant Herbert Nash.
Helen.
Like Helen of Troy.
Smooth.
I bet you give that look to any chump who wants some breakfast.
Well, I could be the last pretty face they ever see.
Unfortunately, that's actually true.
Well, how am I supposed to tell? Whether you just feel sorry for me or you want to kiss me?
Aw. Oh, the truth bombs that they're dropping so casually in this scene.
I heard you were already on 20 missions.
Around there.
Oh, he's at 21.
Please don't jinx it.
Any advice?
Try to stay alive.
For at least 11 missions.
What happens after that?
Well, you beat the odds. Or you didn't.
Oh, awkward truth bombs. Awkward truth bombs.
All these are new faces. When we go down, they won't remember us either. We never existed, Buck.
What does it matter?
Nothing, I guess.
That's a... Oh, this is so uncomfortable.
I hate things. You sissies could be getting flack after. I told him war is war. The longer you go at it, the more it screws a man up. Did caveman go overhead drinking?
I know of, sir.
Damn sure not.
Aerial combat like this hasn't been around since the cavemen, sir.
Well, of course not, Red.
Yeah.
Every war has its novelty.
Yeah, I'm with that guy and with Buck on this. This is not laughing.
You know how we can end this whole thing tonight? We bomb the hell out of Hitler's hidey hole.
It's not that simple.
Now who's flag happy? You are.
The rest of us are all just sitting here going like, oh god, what's about to happen? Crosby looks straight up terrified.
I think the colonel ought to fix you up a weekend pass.
You should come. Let's do it up, Buck. Paint the town red.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Come here, meatball.
Reminds me so. Oh my god.
I'm telling Marge, Buck.
Reminds me so much of my dog growing up. That's adorable. I can't.
We have more down there men than people we can trust to guide them.
I know.
Fair.
I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
Not as lucky as him.
Aww.
Give it to me now.
What? If the Germans find this, what do you think they would do to Louise and her family?
Yeah.
They would torture them until they talked.
No trace.
When they get the names they needed, they would shoot them.
Yeah, you can't afford mistakes like that.
You know how to tell if a man is a pilot? He'll tell you.
Touche.
My husband is a pilot.
So you're married?
Widow.
How long you been out of Poland?
Since the Germans invaded.
Yeah, I saw the newsreels. That's why I joined up even before Pearl Harbor.
An American hero.
Where's the husband?
He wanted to be a hero like you. Pavel was shot down over Silesia in the first week. He's either a prisoner of war or rotting in a potato field. Maybe you are drinking his spirit now. Do you want to take me to bed? Take me dancing first.
You picked the right guy. He'll take you dancing and he'll sing for you, too. Can't blame him. Can't escape it. No matter what, you can't escape it.
I've dropped a lot of those things. Probably done a lot of killing.
Does it weigh on your conscience? Don't bother. The Germans deserve every last one of your bombs. Some believe there is a difference between war and senseless murder. I believe we should be as merciless and severe as they were to my people.
Can't blame her for that.
There is no balance. Just one event after another.
Senseless chaos.
The worst come out untouched. The innocent dead. But you know one thing. The closer you are to death, the more alive you feel.
She's talking to a pilot. I think he understands that concept.
See you up there, Buck. Scratch another one off.
Yeah.
Good luck, Benny.
Yep.
Here we go again. Oh dear.
Any coffee with that, Lieutenant?
Please. You miss me?
No. All 4 hours we were apart.
You might be the last pretty face I ever see.
Don't say that. I will see you later.
You bet.
This is a whole different perspective this episode.
Is it cleared? Nope. Major, sir, I have a problem with the left magneto in number 2. I can fix him while you taxi.
That's crazy. What, you gonna ride the wheel?
Give it a whirl.
Yes, sir.
Huh? Appreciate the dedication. Damn.
Fixing a magneto on the hard stand. That's one thing. But on the move, Lemon says he'll do it, he'll do it.
Gotta trust him.
Believe. How we doing there, Lemons? We gotta lead this squadron. On it, Major.
Oh my god. This kid deserves a raise, my god.
We can pull over on the right there. We're number 1. Almost there, Major.
Nice catch. Oh my god. Oh my god. get a raise. Oh, that's a great shot. Oh. So that was like happy, suspenseful music. That was like triumphant, suspenseful music.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
So there's going to be a lot of Germans. And whatever you do, do not speak.
I'll say, do not open your mouths.
There's something I have to ask you, Gwen.
It's Babyface.
Haley,
Is he dead?
Yeah.
I couldn't get him out. The hatch was jammed. I left him there.
Little Babyface.
I tried.
I would have done the same thing.
That scene hit me so hard.
Et
Oh,
merci de penser à préparer votre laissez-passer pour le contrôle de gendarmerie en gare.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Mademoiselle, contrôle des billets, s'il vous plaît.
Voilà.
Merci. Asseyez-vous et restez calme.
Bah, vous n'allez rien faire.
Calme, très bien.
Juste par là. Un petit voleur, vous verrez. Il est rond.
These girls are good.
Don't do that again.
Jesus.
Understand?
You been here the whole time?
Yeah.
We'll get you to Spain and then home to England. But you must keep your head.
Yeah. Like I said, no room for stupidity. No room for panic.
You do anything like that again,
I'll knock you out.
Yeah. God, that baby face thing. Oh, we're not seeing their mission this time. We're just seeing them come back. Yeah, this episode is a completely different perspective. 13.
Where are you, Buck?
Oh dear. The plane he fixed up didn't come back?
24 forwards, 13 made it. 3 mechanical returns, that makes 8 lost.
That's 80 men.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Kidd and Blakely, DeMarco and Buck Clevin, too.
Lieutenant Crosby.
I'm sorry, son.
I know it's a misdirect, but still. Meatball! He's waiting for them.
It was as if we were flying through a solid wall of flags. Gone. An FW rammed them head on. Both planes blew up.
What were the conditions?
So how'd you end up alone?
There was a lot of confusion up there after the lead of the 350th went down.
Our baby with Buck Clevin and DeMarco.
Lieutenant Nash didn't make it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that foreshadowing!
Did you see what happened to Blakely and Krauser's fort? No. They dropped out of formation somewhere over the IP. Who's gonna tell Egan?
We should not make more of this than what it was.
Oh, that's pretty damn good. How much more can we make it?
My heart couldn't take another pilot in a potato field.
Yeah. I was a child in that building. He's gonna find out from the newspaper. Oh my God. He's gonna find out while he was on leave, enjoying his night.
Was Buck in the lineup?
Yeah.
Did he have a good game?
He went down swinging, John.
Is there a game tomorrow?
Yes.
Tell Coach I'll be there by game time. And Brad, I want to pitch.
Yeah. Could have told you that could have told you that. I've said it before, I will say it again. The difference between this series and Band of Brothers, it's boom, moving on, boom, moving on. This is drawing out every single moment of emotion, every single... They're very, very different tonally, and this is a really interesting episode because that party scene, just the contrast, and that idea that we're throwing a party because one team survived, one person survived 25 missions. That's incredibly, like, yes, you should celebrate, but that's such a horrifying thing that that's something you celebrate, that those odds are that bad, that that's something you celebrate. But the contrast through that entire scene of all of these truth bombs and all of these heavy, heavy facts that they're just casually dropping, like the contrast between that and the whole tone of the scene was just, oh, so... Another thing that was really interesting in that scene was the commanding officer, I don't know his rank, but talking about being flak happy, because obviously I think the term shell-shocked was more of a World War I thing, and that's something they were sort of going into, but the way that they talked about mental health, because that's something that obviously they didn't really talk about all that much, and they didn't really have a term for and really understand the effect of it. And so for him to say, yeah, none of you can afford that, or no, we're not sissies, or whatever it was that he said, I can't remember word for word, but the way that he referred to it as flak happy and how it affects you mentally. And one of the fascinating things, and again, I feel bad comparing to Band of Brothers, but we've talked about how Band of Brothers was very grounded and was very much, I want to say hopeless, but it kind of was in the way that we saw. I remember if it was Spears or someone had said to Blythe in episode 3 or 4 that the reason you didn't jump out of the hole and join the fight was because you still have hope. You still believe that you're going to make it through, and the rest of them don't. They had this mentality that they were already dead. And so that was very, very much reflected in the way that Band of Brothers was shot, in the way that they approached the tragedies, but also in the tone through the entire thing and their experience. I mean, you think about Bastogne and you think about everything, like there was no normalcy for them. This was their entire existence. They didn't have hot showers. They didn't have hot meals. They were completely in the trenches every single minute, and that was it. And the difference here is these men are going into these horrific situations and watching planes fall out of the sky and watching men get shot in these planes, and then coming home to hot meals and hot beds and civilization where they can dance and they can flirt. And I can only imagine the toll that that takes on you mentally, going back and forth and back and forth. Like, that is a completely different animal. And in terms of mental health, of just coping with that somehow and dealing with that somehow. And I feel like that was very, very much a part of this episode. And sort of what the tone of that party was them trying to reconcile those two things that they're experiencing and trying to make sense of it. And again, that the Air Force, I think, or flight airmen, experience the heaviest casualties, being a part of the division that's experiencing the heaviest casualties while also experiencing the most normalcy of anyone else. Like, yeah, there's no way that doesn't mess with you mentally. And as much as, again, we understand that they talked about mental health differently then, it was fascinating to hear them bring it up in the sort of language of the time and acknowledge, regardless of whether you talked about it or not, or whether you understood it or not, it was happening. And that's a whole different animal to deal with. But also the fact that we just, the whole theme of this episode was I don't want to say the other side, but this perspective of, up till now, we've had 3 episodes where we've seen air raids, we've seen them up in the planes, we've seen those battles. So we now know what that's like, and we had a heavy, heavy last episode, and so now we're seeing this other perspective of what is it like for the women involved. For, I can't remember her name, but she was the one dancing with the replacement, and her saying, I could be the last pretty face these men ever see. And the fact that that's what he said, and that foreshadowing of that moment of just, and then not seeing it happen, having it happen off camera. Instead of putting us in it, we're seeing it from the other perspective, and having this Polish woman that Bucky is with saying, my husband went down. I am on the other side. I cannot take losing another pilot. We're very much seeing the other side of it this time. And that almost makes the loss of Buck and those other men, it hits in a different way. I don't want to say it hits harder, but it hits in a completely different way, because instead of being there with them and watching them go down, we're seeing it from everyone else's perspective and seeing Bucky finding out after he had been joyriding, essentially, after he got his time off and he got his break and he got to enjoy a night of drinking and spending it with this beautiful woman, and then to wake up and find out that he's lost his best friend, basically, not because he wasn't there, but when he wasn't there. Just, yeah, this was an interesting take. And again, the other two that are now being ferried back home, trying to get back home at the mercy of these civilians who are doing their best to get them back and doing their best to take care of them. It's just a completely different perspective. And on the one hand, it's incredibly refreshing because those air battles were getting heavy and hard to watch. On the other hand, again, it's just a completely different perspective. And seeing the bombed out house in London and the woman screaming, oh my God, it just reminded me so much of Babyface in the last episode, of just, you didn't have that in Band of Brothers. It was entirely on the company and their experiences, and every single tragedy for the most part that happened, and then you moved on, but you didn't have the screaming and the begging as much. It hit differently. You had it, but it was a very different tone and a different experience. It wasn't civilians. It wasn't these babyface kids trapped in a turret, literally called Babyface. How much more on the nose can you get? But hearing this woman screaming at the end and seeing them carrying out a child, like, oh my God. This series just draws out every moment of drama and every bit of emotion. So yeah, just completely different tonally. And I think it's a misdirect. I believe it's a misdirect. There's no way we lose Buck off screen this early on. Like, I don't buy that from a filmmaking perspective. I absolutely don't buy it. So obviously the weight of how it's hitting everyone else. And just, this is the first time I feel like they've really addressed the numbers of 8 bombers don't come back, 8 forts don't come back. That's 10 people on each one. Like, the numbers are astronomical. And you guys have told me that the airmen took the highest casualties in World War II. And that makes sense when you look at what they're going through. It makes perfect sense. And so to have an episode like this sort of reinforcing the odds and reinforcing this other perspective and how it affects the people on the ground and how it affects the loved ones and those who are adjacent to the airmen. And there was definitely a lot of terrifying foreshadowing in this. It was really, really cool, obviously, to watch the kid fixing the fort right up until that last moment. That's supposed to be a moment of triumph, but it's also terrifying because there's no time to test it. It's literally, you hope to God it works. And the fact that they said they dropped out of formation, Buck and them dropped out of formation, you have to wonder if it's because the engine wasn't working. So the amount of survivor's guilt that Bucky is going to have, but also that kid, the mechanic, is now going to wonder, did I not fix it? Did I not do a good enough job? Is it my fault that they went down? And then the moments of the replacement, curly-haired baby-faced replacement, meeting this girl and having a wonderful time with her and just wanting a moment, and her literally living that truth of, I'm the last pretty face they're ever going to see, and that actually happened. My God. Yep, like I said, they're just drawing out every single bit of emotion, and oh my Lord. Okay, well, I'm going to leave it there. So on that note, please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Drop me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this episode, on this series. I love reading your guys' perspectives. Redder is better, so hit what may or may not be a big red subscribe button depending on your browser, and check me out on Patreon for the full-length version of this reaction, as well as all of my other content, and links to my Instagram and other socials are in the description box below. With all of that out of the way, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you on the next one.